1,047 years ago. You want to do it this time, Nines? Nah, I had all the fun last mission. I'll let you handle it this go-around. I'll see what I can get out of that one in the meantime. Nines said, pointing to the only fully grown anomaly in the room. Understood. Get what we came here for. Keep it short. Zero replied sternly as he strode forward to the small group of anomalies that were cowering in the center of the room. He looked over the huddle of trembling creatures with disgust. The last group of survivors in the facility had locked themselves within a bomb shelter, cornering themselves without even realizing it. Nines looked down at the anomaly he pointed out. It was trying to soothe the small ones that were crying, and wrapped its tail around them to give them a semblance of security. How many versions of Prime you think these things ended up as the dominant species? Strange question. Zero replied, striding over and grabbing one of the anomalies by the throat, snapping its neck and throwing it to the side like trash. Technically an infinite number of them. However, potential changes would be minuscule. The evolution of a species falls roughly in the same span of years every time, so they would be nearly identical in most iterations. I wonder if there's a version of them that don't make these annoying whines. Always so loud. Makes them easy to find, though. Nines noted, crushing one of the anomalies under his boot without noticing. Unlikely, even in the infinite. Time is constant across gates, so we would never be able to see this species before or after its current evolution. Plus, communication is nearly a guarantee when a species reaches technical domination. I countered. Well, if there is one, we'll never see it in our lifetimes. It's a shame we're almost done here. Wish it could have lasted longer. Nines felt the creature underneath him stop struggling. Its heartbeat flickered and died out. He welcomed the anticipated rush of chemicals flooding into his mind, rewarding him for another kill, another job well done. Never loses its luster, does it? You enjoy yourself too much. The chems don't do it for me anymore. I do it just because it's what I'm supposed to do. The missions are our priority, not getting your fix every 10 minutes, Zero said, standing over the last survivors. Just to confirm, we have no need for these ones, correct? Yay, go ahead. Reached quota weeks ago. Just cleaning up the last holdouts and prepping the place for the Logicer. Nines answered, reaching down and prying the grown anomaly away from the group. Clutching it around the neck in one hand, he casually threw it onto the ground and planted his boot on one of its legs, crushing the fragile creature's bones and holding it in place. "Tack, translate for me." Nines instructed, then locked eyes with the anomaly. "You did a good job scrubbing most of the data from your computers, but not good enough. Where are the other facilities?" The anomaly was still crying in pain, clutching uselessly at its broken leg, trying to pull it free. "Calm down. If you just tell me, then you won't be hurting much longer. But trust me when I tell you, I have nowhere else to be. This can last as long as you let it." Nines casually explained, forcing even more of his weight down until his boot was nearly flush with the floor. "Please, I'll tell you what you want. Just let the little ones live." It said between sobs, before her pleas could be answered. The sounds of screams echoed behind the pair, gunshots rang out, and the room was pitched into silence, save for the trembling breaths of the last anomaly. "Sorry, ran out of room for new stock weeks ago. And if I did that, then my partner wouldn't get to enjoy himself now, would he? So I'll ask again, where are the other shipyards? It was a poor choice to leave me as the last one. I have nothing left to live for," the anomaly declared, then brought a hidden blade up to its throat, slicing it open. It collapsed down onto its back as the bright red blood started spurting out, staining its graying silver fur red. "Well, damn, it beat me to it. Tack, any chance we can find anything else on those computers?" Nines said with a note of disappointment. "Negative, sir. We recovered the messages to other facilities, but were unable to ascertain their destinations. Unfortunate. I'm not lugging this thing's brain back, so this was a bust. At least we're ahead on the timeline. Plot a course for the extraction point. Ready to go zero." "Yes, I'm ready. Just using what's left of these things to refill my nutrient canisters. Should keep us going for a few more weeks at the least." Zero replied, placing one of the small creatures in a bag he pulled off of his waist. The bag compressed around the body, a sizzling sound emanating from it. After a few seconds, dark brown liquid flowed from the bag into a canister fixed to his armor. "Need resupply." "All good here. Let's step," Nines said. The pair walked out of the subterranean complex into a vast rocky desert. White sand dunes stretched out to meet the horizon, with tan Rocky Mountains acting as a backdrop behind them. After a few minutes of walking, the duo stopped atop one of the untouched dunes. "All right, we're far enough away. Let's take a break here. Temperature's stable. We've earned a rest." "You know they don't like it when we take our time. We need to stay on task. You keep drawing things out on every mission. 6 is getting agitated," Zero criticized. "Unlike you. I actually like to enjoy myself sometimes. You need to lighten up a little more. It's all done here. We're not hurting the mission by taking our time," Nine said, sitting down, his boots buried into the soft sand underneath him. "All right, I know better than to argue with you, but what do we gain from taking a break here?" "Nothing, really. Just get to enjoy a rest from work. Come on, that's a luxury for guys like us," said Nines, lying back in the sand, looking up at the sun setting in the sky. "We don't need luxuries. I'm more than fine just carrying on," Zero said, but sat down next to Nines regardless. "Sucks for you. You'll have to wait for me. You'll look back on our little breaks and appreciate them when we're out of here. They're not going to last forever, Zero. There's got to be something you enjoy besides the missions," Nines said, glancing up at his partner. "Yes, all good things come to an end. Enjoy is one of the many strange words you've taught me," Zero sighed, entertaining his partner's conversation. "But I believe I've finally started to understand it. How to have a good time. Never thought I'd see the day." Nines chuckled. "So how'd you do it?" "It was difficult at first to ascertain if the feelings I had from completing a mission were genuinely mine or from the implant. But I can see it for what it really is now. I can feel what is mine and what is machine," Zero said, thinking aloud. "Too smart for your own good. You're the only man I've met that's figured out the system, besides me. But here you are, still playing the game. Doing it just for the hell of it now, are we? I think I do it because it's what I'm good at. I enjoy it, even when the implant is not rewarding me. But you only like it because that's what you've been conditioned to like. You were defective, weren't you?" Zero asked. "I was, when I was younger. Failed the first test, got reconditioned. It didn't stick. But they didn't give up. They wouldn't waste an S. After enough tries, I realized what they were doing, what they weren't telling me," Nines explained, letting out a sigh. 8-year-old me was smart enough to put on the act, and now it's hard to tell if I'm still acting." "I see. I suppose they were hoping that I would rub off on you, that you'd end up more like me." Zero laid down in the sand next to Nines, the two looking up in the blue sky speckled with clouds. "But now I'm laying down in the dirt talking when we're supposed to be moving. Seems you ended up rubbing off on me instead," the soldier laughed, the sound coming across as foreign and awkward, as if he had never done it before. "So you've always been able to tell the difference between the real emotions and the ones you're made to feel." "Yep, not too hard once you know what to look for. But I'm not as strong as you. Can't just ignore the fake ones like you do. Suppose that's why I keep going." Zero's tack interrupted their conversation. "Gentlemen, it has been a few minutes, so your SLS halt should be complete by now. You should initiate movement once more." "No thanks. I'm fine here. We'll be off in 5. Nines replied with his hands interlocked behind his head. "This instance will be reported and a recording of events sent to Dagger 6, Nines tack said, hoping to get the pair on the move again. "Denied. He'll survive," Nines said curtly, thinking for a moment before choosing his next words. "So what do you like to do? You have to have something you enjoy to be able to tell 'em apart now. For me, it's shit like this. Those nice gaps of time between the missions. Nothing to worry about, nothing to do. It makes me feel just as good, but I can tell it's real. It's mine, my own contentment, not something artificial. I think—" Zero paused, searching for what made him happy. "I think it is the time that I spend talking to you. Before we were paired, before I met you, I could not even conceive of enjoying anything other than what we were made for. But you make me think about things that do not matter. I quite enjoy that. It almost makes me believe we were meant to do more than this. That there is more to living than what we're made to believe, than what they want us to believe. Yea, I think so too. Maybe once we're done here we can find something better to do. After this our purpose will be fulfilled. It is a frightening thought, to be useless. I'll find us something. It's not ending here." Nine said, smiling under his helmet. I learned an interesting word from these anomalies. I think you'd like it too. I heard it once when we were doing a recon a few weeks back. Had to ask TAC for a translation. Turns out we already had our own word for it. We just hadn't ever needed it. What was the word? Friend. And what does it mean? Someone that you enjoy being around, and you stay around them not because you have to, but because you want to. I like that one. It's a good word, friend, Zero said, rolling it over his tongue. And whatever comes next, as friends, we'll do it together. Always and until the end, right? Always and until the end. Present day. Zero breathed life into his body for the first time in over 1,000 years. He rose from the cryostasis chamber, hands breaking through titanium restraints with ease. His first step back into the world caused the metal floor of the room to groan in protest as he stood up at his full height, nearly brushing the ceiling. Crisp air filled his artificial lungs as he took another breath. He looked down at his body, his missing limbs having returned to the proper places. He listened for the blood rushing through his extremities, but only heard the dead whine of machinery around him. He stepped forward and stretched his arms. The sounds of metal bending and shifting emanated from his reconstructed joints. His gaze scanned the small room for signs of anyone nearby, but found himself alone. He searched for the itch at the back of his mind, where he should have felt the presence of his TAC, but it was gone. Welcome back, W. Zuzenzer. I apologize it has been so long since we last spoke, but we have need of you once more. There is much to get done. Are you ready to begin? Asked a disembodied voice that echoed throughout the room. At the conclusion of the question, for the first time in a millennia, Zero smiled.